Hello, welcome. This is Kristen from the Online Selling Show. I'm here with a special episode today on your foundation and building your foundation. I've been an eBay seller for 22 years, and even though I've been doing this now for 22 years, my current business model with my husband since about last 12 to 15 years has been in a wholesale business model. And it's very labor intensive. It's got a lot of moving parts and a lot of irons in the fire, and when we retire I want to get more simplistic, and in doing that I want to get back to my roots. I want to just shop things like yard sales, estate sales, thrifting, and I'm looking to get $2,500 to $3,000 a month in income by selling about 10 to 15 items a day on average, with an average selling net of $20, meaning after I've paid all my selling fees, take out the money of what I paid to acquire the item, that I'm left with a $20 per item average. So this is my plan, and I'm hoping you're along for the journey with me. I'm doing this as a vlog to myself, but also trying to help educate and inspire. Maybe some of you are already doing this and you're just looking for new ideas, or maybe you're looking to get started. And if you are, this is the episode that I would highly recommend that you start kind of paying attention to when you're looking to build, because we've had some things going on in our wholesale business that has really driven home to me the importance of making sure you have these foundation pieces and you get them from the beginning, or as early as you can, to being implemented, like now, yesterday. Obviously, if you haven't started yet with eBay, you're going to have to pick like an eBay name. You're going to have to set up an account with eBay, and even if you have an eBay name, look at it. Does it make sense? Buyers want to relate to who they are that are selling things. And I'm going to tell you that, especially if you have a niche. I mean, I don't know. Do you plan to have a niche? That's another special episode that I want to do, is just the big planning of things. I seem to have a very big gift in understanding the bigger picture of things, from like the bird's eye view, or whatever you want to say, seeing systems in place and things like that. So you're going to want to look at like your name, and does it make sense? It can't just be like a bunch of initials and letters, and that just does not resonate with a buyer. And people, I mean, I've had people buy from me just because my name is like what their name is, and they, oh, thank you. I'm telling you, what people see and why they do is so different. Or unexpected, I guess should be the word. So, now you've gotten beyond just the getting started stuff, but you have to take care of the financial very early on. What do I mean by that? Is you got to have a bank account that is specific to just this business. I'm having, multiple accounts out there for my wholesale business, but I'm not using them, and I'm not using my personal. And the reason for that is because I need to track what's going on with that business, and God help if there's an audit. You don't want any overlapping of all these different things that you have going on. It needs to be specific to them. I highly recommend reading a book by Michael Michalowicz that's called Profit First. And in that book, he talks about the necessities of having multiple accounts. And I highly recommend, if you're doing more than a couple hundred a month, and I'm assuming if you're watching this video, it's because that's what you're looking to do. You're not looking to just sell a couple things from around your house. If that's the case, you need to have that secondary account that is not easily accessible, meaning you're not just going to go to the Mac machine, take money out, or whatever. Like, you have to physically get out of your car, go to the bank, and go in, make it a savings account or whatever you got to do. And that account is where you regularly put payments in. It's going to be your tax monies, because I'm telling you, you're going to be paying that. And it's not just like the income, but there's all those little deductions on your pay stubs that come out that you're paying, like the unemployment, the disability, the Social Security. Yeah, you pay them as an employee, so you're going to be having to pay those, but your employer pays over and above to match some of what you're putting in. So when you're working for yourself, you're going to be paying some of those costs twice, which leads me to say, if you don't have a CPA, I highly recommend that you start finding one. It may not be somebody that you need right now, but I highly recommend that you start. Even if you just pay somebody and go in for an hour of time and explain to them what you're looking to do, how you can cover yourself, because some of the things like buying at yard sales and estate sales, you may not be getting receipts. especially if you're buying in cash, you got to start making a plan now to figure out how you're going to handle those things so that when things do get to be bigger, you're not going to try and have them figure it out there. My friend used to have a saying that it's like trying to change the wheel on a moving bus. It does get to be very cumbersome to try and stop things when you build them to a bigger level and put these foundation pieces in later. Just letting you know. So in addition to having the 2 bank accounts, I would highly recommend getting a credit card. It can be in your personal name, just something that is specific for you to be able to use for the business. You may be like, well, Kristen, I'm doing this because I want to pay off credit debt. I don't want to have any more credit cards. Okay, well, maybe you pay one off and then you use that one specific to the business. Talk to the CPA, find out what it needs to be in. I'm not legal advice. I'm just letting you know, as a business owner, what I have found to work for me, and work for me in a sense of peace of mind, help me understand how some of the things are going in my business. And, you know, just being able to understand that it's business, not personal, that type of thing. So taking care of the money is another thing, but having a plan also does your plan. My plan includes selling on the secondary markets, meaning, yes, eBay's the big dog in the room, or whatever term you want to put to it. They are the biggest reselling platform out there. Some people want to do Poshmark, some want to do Macari. You're going to have to look into maybe doing those accounts. I personally don't get into those, but I do get into using Facebook Marketplace, and I get into using Facebook groups. If you're not familiar with what I mean for that, they are specialty hobby or interest groups that are created for like-minded people. I'm in one for my paper crafting that is specific to the brand and to just making cards, which I don't do the scrapbooking, I just do cards. There's specific groups for those. Some of it you cannot sell in at all, and some of it is all just selling. I use those groups to move a lot of product, and I can go through, you know, all the reasons for that, but I go through that because I have a concentrated market of the people who are my buyer, but also I can get sales without having to pay the commissions and fees to eBay. But the only way you're able to do that is almost 99.9 is that these groups want you to have PayPal and use goods and services for that. So that means you'd have to have a PayPal account to go with that Facebook account. Now, again, sounds maybe very complicated. It's not that complicated. I have business accounts on Facebook. I also have my personal accounts. You can choose. They could all be under one login, but you can choose. Maybe you don't want to go into these groups with your personal name. Maybe you want to sign it up and create it under your business name. That's fine. You can do that. You can post under both at the same time. It's really not that big of a deal. The PayPal, goods and services, it took me a few minutes because I've never been one to invoice out. Once you do it once or twice, you really see the benefit of it, and you also see the form of communication and validation that you have in there, so that if you write, you know, if I sell 3 of the same thing and I can put it in there like any other packing slip from a big business, it's there to make sure that you and the buyer understand that what's being sold, at what price. You can add other things in there, meaning discount code, discounts, coupon codes, but you can add your shipping in there as a separate line. And you can add like graphics to it if you want to come up with a logo. So I highly recommend, if you're going to get into a secondary market, probably having the PayPal. I know people talk about Venmo and all, but in Facebook groups, those types of things are generally not allowed. I do see where people have the Venmo accounts and things like that out when they're doing the estate sales or yard sales, but those have to go back to a bank account. And again, the other thing is, if you start tying it into your personal, maybe you paid like your rent or your mortgage for that week and it didn't come out yet, and now you're going to mess up that if something else comes in from the business because maybe you went and made a purchase. So really, I highly recommend, it's just layers of protection that you're putting in there to keep your personal and your business separated. A secondary thing that I'm going to get into that you probably should start putting in place ahead of time is shipping, material, and the ideology of what happens at the time of the sale. You need to plan for the sale before the sale happens. And what I mean by that is, you know, get a little bit more familiar with how to pack items, what type of packing material. Don't wait for the sale and then go try to find a box, because I'm going to tell you, you're never going to, whenever you need something, you're never going to find it. So me personally, I'll do a whole segment on it. I tend to buy through eBay bulk and Uline. So you can find people that are on eBay that are selling, let's say, 2 or 3 rolls of tape. Maybe you don't want to keep buying those small rolls at Walmart. Go out, when you start using the packing tapes or from these other secondary markets, you'll find the difference between what 1 ml means versus 2 mLs. You'll find the differences in the bags, and I used perforated bubble wrap and why that's better than not having it perforated. So you'll start learning who's the reputable. You'll start to feel, it may sound like you get a lot with a 700-foot roll of bubble wrap, and then you'll be like, my God, that went so fast. So you kind of have to start preparing. Don't wait till you make the first sale to start trying to figure out what maybe packing peanuts are needed and things like that. So start putting a plan in place up front. That's what I have to talk about for today. I probably will do some secondary ones, but I'm hoping you got some inspiration. So to recap, get your eBay account set up with a good, rememberable eBay name. Get yourself financially secure by having your bank accounts in place with your credit card as a backup. Talk to some kind of a CPA. Make sure whatever you're doing for record keeping and how you're planning to take care of any implication of taxes is going to be understood up front, so you're saving what's appropriate for the time that the bill will come in. Make sure you have things like what you're going to do for a secondary market. I'm not saying you have to go out there and sign up for every eBay group under something you may possibly sell for. I got in a bunch of shiny bright ornaments. I joined that group at the time I got all those ornaments in. You can add to those things. And then making sure that you have a PayPal account if you're going to do that. And the last thing is just making sure you get your shipping and your shipping supplies thought and understood up front. Maybe you want to print through eBay, or maybe you want to go get your own account under a pirate ship or something like that. So I hope you got some inspiration out of this. I would greatly appreciate it if you would hit the like button down below, and be sure to hit to subscribe, because it would help me grow the channel, but it would also put in your feed when I upload some new videos. So I'll say goodbye for now, and I'll catch you in the next one.